How many of you want to do something to end this lockdown now? And how many of you are willing to get out of your comfort zone? Awesome. I imagine you guys said yes to those questions because you in the audience there, live and later watching this video, are some of the most powerful people on the planet. And I have a lot of respect for you. And we're going to talk about exactly what we've been doing out here in California. My name is David James Rodriguez, and I'm grateful because I am joining you from Santa Cruz in Northern California. And I have been practicing non-cooperation with many of my freedom friends out here who are solution minded. We've been reopening beaches and building a community of moral, peaceful people. And I want to share some of that with you because I think that would be helpful for what you got going out there in Pennsylvania and wherever you are on earth as you watch this video live or later. And I think freedom is the issue of our lifetime. And so let's talk about what we're going to discuss here shortly. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to share with you how we open beaches multiple times and locations for 27 weeks, strong and still continuing. And some of the principles, the mindset involved, the weapon of non-cooperation, and also how you can apply it in your city or wherever you are located as well. There's some universal principles that I'm going to share with you. And before I dive into that, some of you might want to know a little bit about who I am. So let me just briefly tell you, I'm actually the president of the Gatto Project, which is a acronym which means Get All the Thinkers Out of 4 schools. I'm also a principal of a private school called Valor Academy. I do accelerated graduations to help kids end their day prison sentences and go out and have a great life pursuing their own passions. I do homeschool coaching at Homeschool Leader, and I'm also the publisher of The Underground History of American Education by John Taylor Gatto, the world famous school teacher. I was the co-producer of Anarchapulco, the famous event, freedom event down there in Mexico, and also the host of the Freedom Lovers Show, where we talk about news and different things about promoting a voluntary world, creating one together. So that's a little bit about me. Let's get back to you. And I want to share a quote with you because, as we know, the media has been controlled for many generations. And this is one of the most powerful quotes I've read from a gentleman named Etienne de la Boetie. And he said, quote, "Resolve to serve no more, and you are at once freed. I do not ask that you place hands upon the tyrant to topple him over, but that simply you support him no longer. Then you will behold him like a great colossus whose pedestal has been pulled away, fall on his own weight, and break into pieces." Now that is from over 500 years ago, but I just learned about it in the last few years. But essentially what this gentleman is talking about is remove the support from what's happening, the consent, the compliance, the cooperation, and it will fall upon itself. And so I come from a voluntarist perspective where all human relationships should be voluntary and not a should, need. It's a must. It's the future of humanity, in my opinion. And we went from a kingship or a monarchy to evolved to a constitutional republic. And now we see the American empire all over the world. It's the largest military, and we have the highest percentage of prison victims in the world, despite having a low population compared with India and China. And the next phase of evolution is individual sovereignty. And so that is you own yourself, your life, your freedom. It comes from God or nature. And this is where we're going. And this is why it's so important that we speak of freedom, discuss freedom, and build the world that we want to see. And so I want to share why I'm honored to speak with you because I respect and love individuals who seek what's right and they do what's right and they try the best that they can. And I think that's what we're doing out here in Santa Cruz and out there in Pennsylvania, New York, Texas, Florida, wherever you are seeing this. I think the good people are really trying to figure out what to do. Because once you understand the tyranny, once you see that government is based on coercion, taxation is robbery, war is mass murder, now you have to start reevaluating and basically deprogram ourselves. What are we doing here? Who are we? Where do our rights come from? And some of you know that our rights come from God or nature. So in that case, if our rights come from God, then does the city, the county, the state, the federal government have any authority to shut down businesses or beaches or parks or any other place on the planet? No, no, they use threats, intimidation, and coercion, and that's why statism is fading away, in my opinion. Now, it's going to get darker before it gets brighter, but the main point is that the opportunity of freedom is coming. When the dollar crashes, with all the money that the Federal Reserve has been printing for generations, okay, you can't just print money and expect it to be worth something. Once humanity loses trust, I should say the mass population, because the banks already know, the international governments already know, but the masses of Americans, once they realize that, people stop using it and maybe use silver, gold, Bitcoin, other cryptocurrencies, anything that has value, but a piece of paper not necessarily have value. Also, I believe you're a freedom lover like me. You just want to be left alone. And this is what we're discovering, is that freedom is about sovereignty, self-reliance, and the government, because it needs your money and they have to use taxation and coercion to get it, that's how they get it. So I'm so grateful to be with you guys, and I really do respect you guys as people who are looking for solutions, and hopefully non-cooperation can be something you implement in your world. So how did we open up multiple beaches in California? And we did city beaches, county beaches, and state beaches. And many of these are on video. You can find me on YouTube at Freedom Lovers TV, and also on Facebook, Fedbook. So how did we do it? Well, back in April, I had already started a little group called the Santa Cruz Voluntarists. So I had about 20, 30 friends within my 30-mile radius. And I had met many of them at freedom events and just started, gathering cool, moral, peaceful friends one by one. So I gathered them all together and some other friends of friends, and we put about 22 people together in my friend's backyard, and we said, hey, this COVID thing, this coronavirus looks suspicious, sounds suspicious. We got to do something. They're shutting down businesses, shutting down beaches. What can we do? So we decided we would go reopen the beaches. And so we went down there the day of. There was about 12 people, and the city had closed the beach from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. because this is when the virus is very active, allegedly, right? How idiocy and ignorant his whole thing is. And so at about 3 o'clock, we gathered our friends and we said, hey, are you guys ready? All right, ready to open the beach? And we grabbed the bullhorn and we said, we now declare the beach open. So 12 of us walked down onto the beach, and the beach was ours, and no troubles. But then the police would come and they say, hey, the beach is closed. And we said, wow, we respect your humanity, but where do you get your authority? And we start asking questions. And who owns the beach? So we start really standing up for our freedom with our words and not being violent. But we started doing that at different beaches, and we started to grow our group, and people started looking out for us and finding us. So that was the first thing. We gathered the people, we went out there, and even at that first meeting, we actually gave ourselves a name. So it's like, what do we stand for? We just want to reopen beaches and parks and businesses safely. So we said, we're the committee to reopen Santa Cruz to save lives. And because the county government uses coercion and terrorism to shut businesses down, they're trying to save lives, actually open up businesses, allowing self-responsibility, freedom of choice. That is actually how you save lives, because when humans are given freedom, they make appropriate choices. And that's what we did there. So, and that's how we did it. We did that. We started gathering, and people started actually taking up their own leadership as well. So we started to build a community, and that's the intention behind it, is that once you realize that statism is going down and coronavirus is just the excuse, and the dollar is losing value, and coronavirus is just the excuse, with the $1 trillion of bailouts that's already been distributed going to the large mega corporations, now you're looking for solutions. And so next we want to open up businesses, and we'll talk about a little bit how we did that. So how we used non-cooperation is we had illegal bonfires on the beach. And what we did is, despite the sign that says, hey, you can have a bonfire in the rings. And so the rangers would come up and they said, you guys can't have a bonfire. And we said, well, the sign says that we can. And they said, well, that's only in the metal rings that we put on the sand. And because of the coronavirus, we removed these rings. And we said, okay, well, do you own the beach? No. Who owns the beach? Oh, we all own the beach. Great. So we're going to stay here and enjoy the fire. And so they had trouble with that. So I mentioned the first one, we opened beaches, and then we started actually exercising non-cooperation on the beach with the fires, and even alcohol is illegal. So if somebody wants to have a beer, a glass of wine, that was illegal. But if we're trying to build a voluntary world, it's about personal responsibility. So we said, okay, you want to drink something? Bring it. But if you bring glass or you bring trash, we just ask that you remove it. This is our beach. And so that's what happened. We've even had the park rangers come and pour water on our fire, and then we started it up. And then they came back, an hour later, poured water on our fire again, and then we started it up. Because these rangers, God bless their humanity, they're not fighting for freedom. They're fighting for a paycheck. They're fighting for a pension. And hey, that's fine. If you want to spend your life and your precious energy on fighting and acquiring money rather than expanding freedom and helping to prepare the next generation and the grandkids of the future for freedom to live in a freer world, then that's your choice. But me and my friends, we're concerned about the future, and I'm sure you guys there watching this are visionaries in your own right, because you are here in live person or watching this, and you care about freedom as well. And so when they told us to put the fire out, we did not cooperate. And that's really the main thing, is that, do you know where your rights come from? If they come from God or nature, then the government can't take them away. But you can send them away. And this is what the driver's license is about. Many of you know about the right to travel, and this is something that I'm pursuing as well. And I'm a student, just like you guys. I don't claim to be an expert, but I am just sick of the tyranny, and I don't want my kids and grandkids to be enslaved, like many of you in the room. And so, some people believe in the political process, but once I saw Ron Paul get his election stolen in 2012 and 2008, it occurred to me that the media is in bed with the government, and it's all a bunch of thuggery and criminality. And that's my conclusion. So my hope is not in any politicians, despite Ron Paul giving us the message out there. It's about the ideas, and it's about all of us taking personal responsibility for our lives and truly building the world that we want to live in. And so one of the final tips I have for you guys is I am encourage you to apply this in your own world. I want to share with you, we've done 27 Saturdays bonfires in a row. The last 2 months, we've had live music, and throughout this summer, like this has been probably my most favorite summer of my life. And it started because back in April, I went to my favorite swimming hole, which I love to go to on a hot summer day, and there was 4 rangers out there giving citations to people. And I'm looking at these guys. My buddy, one of your speakers, Howard Lickman, joined me. I said, these guys are going to try to ruin my summer. I normally go out that swimming hole, a few times a month, but we decided to bring it out to the beach every Saturday, every time. And so what happens is we're building it. It takes one guy to keep banging the drum and bringing the people, bringing the food, bringing the music. And at first it was just a Bluetooth speaker and a YouTube account. And then later on, some other Freedom Friends are musicians. They say, we want to play music. Hey, let's start some music. I have another surf friend. He's like, I want to teach surf lessons. Okay, let's do it for the community. I got buddies teaching kickboxing lessons. Okay, let's help everybody who wants to learn kickboxing. And then this past 2 weeks, we started a heart circle, because one of the ladies would say, well, okay, let's kind of help process our emotions. I said, that's a great idea, right? So as you take leadership, as you already are in your own right, and increase that and expand that, other people want to participate in that too, because we're all trying to figure out what to do. And you can go to the ballot booth, or you can try to get this guy elected, or we can understand that we own our body and our life, and that we're responsible. And regardless of what's happened yesterday, today is a new day. And so 5 tips how to apply non-cooperation in your world. And the first one is remember who you are. You are a living man or woman on the land. You are sovereign. You own your life, liberty, and property. 100%. And this is one of the secrets that the criminals have tried to hide through the school system, through the media, and they call it a sovereign citizen. But if you're a sovereign, you're like a king or a queen. If you're a citizen, you're a subject. So you're either a king or a queen, or you're a subject. And I believe you're a king or a queen, as I am. So you got to remember that. You got to stand on solid ground. That's what sovereignty is about. This is the truth. You own this flesh. I don't know about you, but these are my 2 hands. If you guys want to put your hands up there and say, hey, whose hands are these? They are yours. The second recommendation is understand the non-aggression principle. And many people know this as the platinum rule, which is you are allowed to do anything you want, just don't harm another person or their property. And so this is the other insight, that without an actual victim, there can't be a crime. So that's part 2, understand the non-aggression principle. Number 3, intend to build a freedom community. I think this is where a lot of people really mistake that somebody else is going to do it. Okay, well, I'll just attend. Okay, attendance is good. But ultimately, as leaders, we have to create it. We have to build it. You are a visionary. So intend to build it. It doesn't happen overnight, but week by week, you meet people. Month by month, year by year, you gather, you go on vacation, and you hang out with people, and you get to see, you know, the qualities of people. We just want to be around peaceful, moral, nice, kind, loving people. And there's a lot of them out there, but we got to find each other. And it takes you and me to actually intend to build a community. And we could talk about building voluntary villages later. That's another Facebook group that I have that you can join and take a look at some of the conversations and solutions that we're building. Number 4 is study nonviolence as a weapon. And this is what really changed my life. There's a documentary called How to Start a Revolution by Gene Sharp, and he has been studying real case studies of nonviolence in warfare, how to bring down dictatorships, and he's in the same conversation as Gandhi and MLK. Now, those guys were on the front line, but Gene Sharp was kind of in the backside, kind of a strategy guy, and he wrote a lot of books. He runs the Albert Einstein Institute, and I think he just passed away in the last few years. But that film was amazing, and I like all those guys, MLK, Gandhi, and Martin Luther King. Despite their personal lives, I don't know all the details about that, but their political life and their activism life, they used nonviolence, and they were all statists, meaning they believed in state authority. They believed the Constitution had gives strangers power over them, although they never signed it or agreed to it. However, I think they would have found sovereignty or voluntarism eventually, but now with the internet, more and more people are talking about sovereignty. So study nonviolence, take a look at that documentary, and start learning about this power that ATN mentioned, where you just have to withdraw your support, and then the colossus or the authority falls in its path. And there's a great meme that says, I'm not afraid of somebody with a mustache, some dictator with a bad mustache. I'm just worried about all the order followers and the people who obey that man. So it talks about cooperation and obedience being the linchpin, the number one important factor that these totalitarian organizations depend upon. And the number 5 is gather your freedom friends, hold a meeting, stop cooperating with coercive individuals and organizations. This seems to be the Achilles heel and the death blow to the state. When you and I stop participating with them, what are they going to do? And you can see some of the videos I've made where I travel. I don't have any plates on my car, and as soon as they grab me, I just go limp. Rather than fighting and resisting arrest charges, if you're going to put hands on me, then I'm just going to comply to you. Now, of course, there's different times where self-defense is necessary. But as we're doing strategic activism, making media, we're trying to win the hearts and minds of people. And that is to help them remember their personal sovereignty. Who owns their life? Who owns their body? And this is some of the insights and stories that we've acquired this summer despite it being the summer of tyranny, it's also the summer of freedom. And it's also one of the most exciting and thrilling times of my life because of all the excellent people that I've met. And I got to meet the organizers here, Dr. Andy. I'm grateful for all you guys for putting this event together, because it really takes leaders like you guys to organize and put your time and energy and resources together to do this. And that's really what it's about. It's about us taking action, and non-cooperation is a sovereign power, and you are a sovereign man and woman on the land. I have so much respect for you. If I can be of service in any way, please reach out to me on thegattoproject.com, or you can find me on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. I'm also at float.app at DJ Rodriguez. And I just want to thank you guys for coming together and being courageous to get out of your comfort zone and wanting to do something. Non-cooperation, non-participation, non-compliance with our own slavery seems to be a very powerful move. And I hope all of you will think about applying that today, tomorrow, and until this whole COVID scamdemic goes away and we can start building the voluntary world that we all dream of. Thank you.